Welcome to the TETP Insights presentation on automated flagger assistance devices. My name is Tom Di Nardo, and I'm with the Traffic Control, Standards, and Specification Services here at the Colorado Department of Transportation. Automated flagger assistance devices are also referred to as AFADs and provide additional options when considering the layout and control of your active work zone. They work alongside your current understanding of the duties of a flagger in an active work zone, and MHTs are nearly identical. Therefore, incorporating an AFAD into your work zone can be fairly seamless. Today, we are going to answer some important questions about AFADs, including what exactly is an AFAD, what differences there may be between an AFAD and a flagger, where can AFADs be utilized, and where you can go to find more information and resources. AFADs are remotely operated traffic control devices which act in sync with the duties of a flagger. They are highly visible and provide information to a driver to warn and give direction about the active work zone. And while AFADs may consolidate flagging duties, they are not a replacement for qualified flaggers on your job site. So what exactly should you be looking for to identify an AFAD? AFADs come in two distinct forms as approved by the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. One version is identified by a stop and slow paddle, while the other is identified by a red and yellow lens. There are many shall statements provided in the MUTCD with additional requirements for each version of an AFAD. So always make sure to review the appropriate MUTCD sections to make sure the AFAD contains the correct requirements. This is especially important during construction or maintenance operations. There are also two methods an AFAD must conform to as per the MUTCD. Method 1 contains two separate AFADs. Each are located on either end of the active work zone. Method 2 utilizes a flagger in their normal position and an AFAD on the other end of the active work zone. Typically, a separate flagger will remotely control a single AFAD. However, there are exceptions, and a single flagger can remotely control a maximum of two AFADs. Another exception is for a flagger to control an AFAD while performing their flagging duties at their typical flagger station. Regardless of which method you choose or how you choose to control each AFAD, the operator of an AFAD must be certified. They must have unobstructed views of each AFAD in their control, and they also must have unobstructed views of approaching traffic to each AFAD they are responsible for. There are many benefits and considerations one needs to take into account when deciding whether to include an AFAD into their project or not. The biggest benefit results in the form of safety. I mentioned exceptions in the previous slide, but in a typical layout, a single flagger will control a single AFAD. Therefore, the project team has effectively removed a conflict point between live traffic and human life. Another benefit can be seen in social distancing, which is prevalent in pandemic situations. Considerations need to be taken into account as well. AFADs will add a cost to the project. In typical work zone layouts, a project will require both an AFAD and operator per flagging station. There are exceptions to this, as noted in the previous slide, and combinations can be utilized to reduce certain added costs. Just remember, an AFAD does not replace a flagger on the work site. AFADs can be utilized on all sizes and types of work zones. They are typically applied on two-lane roadways where flagging operations are normally warranted. They can also be installed in both smaller and larger work zones. Always remember, an operator must have full, unobstructed views of both the AFAD and approaching traffic, and these devices must never be left unattended. For more information, please review Section 6E of the MUTCD. Also, feel free to explore the links that accompany this video. You can find a project special provision by copying the first link into your web browser. If you scroll down to September 3rd of 2020, you'll find revision 630 AFADs. If you copy the second link into your web browser, you would reach CDOT's approved products list. You can find AFADs by clicking on Category and Next, and then in the drop-down menu, clicking on Traffic Control. In the next drop-down menu, clicking on Traffic Enhancement. And lastly, clicking on Automated Flagger. And finally, you can always reach out to your region traffic program for additional assistance or browse HQ's webpage by clicking on the third link. This concludes this video on automated flagging assistance devices.